Instead of testing it on, let's say, 5 people to get their opinion and then start, and because you are used to the corporate world, you just open an Excel sheet and then you start over planning by having a 6-month plan. You know what happens? Nothing happens. There will be no offers, no real actions. You are still following what you learned in the corporate world. But this time, you are really obeying perfectionism and you are just overthinking as if you are a boss of someone, and you shouldn't. All of these cases that we mentioned, the pattern is just the same. You are not choosing, you are just waiting. Marhaba and how's it going, everyone? And welcome back to Yuwab podcast, where we talk honestly about work, life, and the courage to build your own path so that you can be a better version of yourself and thrive in this abnormal world. I'm your host, Saeed Alghafri. It really means a lot that you're spending this time with me because I really want to see you grow and thrive in this life. And this drives me to make this podcast. One small request before we dive in. Please share this episode with someone if it resonates with you, and always rate my show in Apple Podcasts and Spotify and YouTube just now before you even listen to this episode, because maybe you're going to forget. Today, we're going to talk about a topic many of us feel, but rarely name it clearly, and that is the corporate world trains you to follow. Entrepreneurship requires you to choose. Just two different words. Corporate world and then the entrepreneurship or the entrepreneur world. Now, you might be still in a corporate job. You might be there. You might be trying to build something out there. You're an entrepreneur, you want to do a startup or do something in your life. Or you might be stuck in between. Wherever you are, this episode is definitely for you. So let's dive in. Most of us were not really trained to lead our lives. We were very much trained to follow systems. Let's basically rewind. When we were students in school, when school bells ring, it means we should sit or go to class. When teacher speaks, we have to listen. If you don't listen, you know what happens. When a manager sends you an email, you have to respond. When any KPI comes or a target, you have to comply. From a young age, we always learn that do what you are told. Don't cause any trouble and wait for instructions or wait for permissions. And that's exactly what happens in the corporate world. When you wait for approvals, you wait for a promotion, you wait for a salary increase, and a yes from someone who's above you. And that's not by having a choice, but it's more having systems in corporates. And don't get me wrong, having a system is not always bad. It gives you a structure, stability, and you learn more from it, especially when you are joining a new place. But here is the problem. If you live too long in that mood and you forget that you have a life outside this world, you stop asking these fundamental questions. What do I want to build? What game I want to play, and what risk do I want to choose, not only accept. And if you see what I mean is, it's basically all the I and not them. And that's exactly what entrepreneurship is. It's the opposite of what I said. It's basically not about waiting. It's more about choosing and deciding. Not what task do I have to do today, but more like what future am I creating for myself? And what will I do today to move toward it? It's more personal choices. You know why this matters? When you only know how to follow systems, your life can look good on the outside, but very much empty on the inside. You can have a good job, a good title, a very nice office, very much of a predictable routine. You come in the morning, check your email, or you wake up in the morning, eat breakfast, watch Netflix, da 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 da. It's just a predictable routine. But internally, sometimes you feel like you're a passenger in your own story. It's like a narrative. Things just happened or happens to you. Just happens without even you being that stimulator into that. And you end up in roles, in cities, in lifestyles without even you being conscious why you chose that. It happened to me a lot in the past. And people think that entrepreneurship is just about starting a company. But it's basically a shift from I am controlled by systems to I design my roadmap and I choose the direction. And if you don't make this shift, here is what really happens. You feel very much a person without a purpose. Yes, you earn more, but you do feel a bit underused. You stay very much busy in the situation, but feel very much replaceable. A lot of people have this job insecurity at work. And the danger is not really comfort. People think that, oh, it's basically comfort zone, I like it. It's very much forgetting that you even have a choice. Let's make this a little bit practical by giving you these examples. You are in a corporate job and you complain about your manager, the meetings that you have, and who doesn't love those meetings? It fills your calendar. And the politics that goes around and those gossip talks, it's just a waste of time and you know it. You know that you want freedom down there, but every time you think about starting something on the inside or outside, your mind goes like, oh, what if I fail? What will people say if I do it? Maybe it's better I stay where I am. So what happens is you just obey that fear, and you just stay with that habit and corporate job or that comfort zone. And you basically have that idea that you are not ready. Let me give you another example. Okay? You have an idea about, let's say, a service, something very, very nice that you feel this would really add value to people's life. A product, a content that you want to create. Instead of testing it on, let's say, 5 people to get their opinion and then start, and because you are used to the corporate world, you just open an Excel sheet and then you start over planning by having a 6-month plan. You know what happens? Nothing happens. There will be no offers, no real actions. You are still following what you learned in the corporate world. But this time, you are really obeying perfectionism and you are just overthinking as if you are a boss of someone, and you shouldn't. In all of these cases that we mentioned, the pattern is just the same. You are not choosing, you are just waiting. Let me give you some real stories that I encountered in my life. This person is a friend of mine. This guy is just the perfect fit for a corporate job, I would say. He did everything right he did everything right on paper. He came early, he stayed late, he delivered high quality work and never argued. Always said, sure, no problem. Very much of a yes man. When something even extra came to his way, he was like, whoa, management just loves me. That's why they're giving me more work. He became very much of a person who was reliable, loyal, and very much consistent. Very much a promotion kind of a guy. But when we spoke privately, he told me, Saeed, I feel like my life is on hold. I have this idea. And this idea is about opening a small agency because he's basically doing services. And I'm like, awesome, man. What's really holding you back? Then he made this amazing plan that in 2 years he would do it. All right. I'm like, awesome, great. Come 2 years, I'm like, hey, man, what really happened? And he was like, probably I need to have a PhD to do this. I'm like, come on, man. Is this really important? It's like, yeah, people will preserve me this way and I need to do it and all that, And I have a lot to do in my current job. Look at basically and this is basically why he couldn't really do it. And by the way, I heard that a promotion is coming my way. I'm like, okay, man, you know what's really best for you, And during that time, a lot of drama happens in between. I mean, he was coming, speaking to me and telling me this is what happened at work, da-da-da, 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 da-da-da. Come the day that he finished his PhD. And you know what happened? The guy did not get promoted. Now, ask yourself why that happened. A new management came and he had to basically prove to them again that he is worthy of that promotion. And it never happened. Then we spoke honestly. And I was like, come on, man. You are very much well spoken. Very much well spoken. And honestly, you had this great connection with anyone that speaks to you. And you have a great network. And you don't need any investment, any financial investment for this. Yalla ya akhi, khalas, start. And he was like, Saeed, I'll be honest with you. Now I know what was really holding me. I cannot really do this small agency without a corporate job. And I'm very much afraid if I start, I won't be able to basically focus on my current tasks at that corporate job. And, all this delay was not very legitimate. Everything that he was saying, it was very much about this guy was afraid to step out from the systems and from that comfort zone. And guess what? Eventually, he did not get that promotion. And the guy is still doing the same job that he used to do. And he did not open that small agency. He told me one thing. He told me, Saeed, you know what? No one cared about me in the past 10 years that I served. See, I served. This is very important. They just cared about the new targets, and that's the hardest thing that he told me. And to add to that, he said, I really did not choose myself. The guy was not really a victim. He was just trained to obey the systems and never question the status quo. This is a story that happened to me, I resigned from my corporate job close to 9 or 10 months ago. When I left the corporate life, I had a feeling, and I always had something very important that I wanted to achieve in my life, which is freedom. The freedom that I don't have a boss, I don't have a schedule. Every time I open my calendar app in my phone, I had no meetings. I had only the meetings that I want to attend. No fixed tasks. No clear to-do list from anyone. How lovely is that, right? And for the first time, no one is telling me what to do. I wanted this so bad, and it happened. But I honestly did not know what it means to have to do things myself. What happened is, when you leave a world which is filled with systems, processes, and all that, and then you come to a place where none of that exists, it's very difficult. You have now to govern your growth. And at that time, I wanted to open my startup, and I still want to do that. and I'm still working on it. But at this time, I had basically no one to delegate the tasks to. When I basically stepped back, and resigned, I had no one to basically delegate the tasks to. I'm used to have people around me. I had an amazing team with different functions. They manage different functions. And I had a marketing team to basically go there, market for the product, a sales team to go and sell, etc. I had VPs who had teams, and it was very easy to work with. When I left, I had to deal directly with the person who was making the thing. So I had to basically micromanage and very much own and do everything by myself. And I couldn't do it. I didn't really know that I had to do it. I trusted that if I tell someone, it will happen. The systems would really protect it. So what happened is I started delegating, awarding the job, delegating, and not really checking on basically the quality of the work and holding people accountable. And honestly, I didn't check when it will be delivered because I was thinking that it will happen on that day. Come that day, nothing happened. All right. And I was paying on time as if it was a salary, not against a milestone, but they're two different things. When you're at a job, you get your salary anyways, unless it's based on a bonus or performance. But I had to basically do a lot of things. And then I figured that now I have to go and chase people because sales order will not come to me anymore. So I had to basically do it by myself, and I cannot delegate it. I have to be the one who check the presentations, not someone, sometimes even making them. You know, I'm not used to do that when I left. I used to delegate. And don't blame me. That's basically what I used to do for over 20 years. What happened is, before I learned the hard way, things got delayed by 6 months. Until I learned that the entrepreneurship world is completely different. It's about choices. I have to choose by myself. It's all about me, you know? And that's where I felt I need to change. And honestly, the freedom that I was aspiring to have from the corporate world wasn't as easy as I thought, you know? And I should have wear the entrepreneurship hat because I was very much cultivating a corporate mindset. And this is when things started to move on, and inshallah this startup will happen very soon. So let me share with you 3 practical moves to start choosing and convert those ideas into tangible ones. The first thing is clarify one thing that you are choosing. What happens is we just do a lot. Instead of saying, you know, I want to have freedom, get very specific, very specific. Ask yourself, if I had to choose one direction today, just one thing, for the next 12 months, what would that be? Let me give you an example of what that means. Something like, I choose to build a coaching practice on the side of my job. Something like that. Or maybe I choose to become known for my expertise in a social media platform. Or I choose to save and invest aggressively to buy back my time, or do an investment or something like that. Write it down. When you write this thing down, you're going to clarify what you choose. The second thing is break that fear from systems with small bits. You know that we always follow the systems. We always want to do that. Don't really leave everything until you leave the corporate world. A lot of people leave everything until it happens. Be proactive when it comes to that. I know it's very important to have your current job, so don't really basically leave your current job. Financial stability is very important, so keep at it. But start by breaking that pattern of always obeying fear and comfort. Think about, the choosing that you made in step number 1 that we just made, and decide. For the next 30 days, that's what I will do. I will talk to 10 people about my idea. I will launch a small paid offer, even if it's messy. I don't overthink it. Or maybe I'm going to post 3 times a week about what I am building. Those small acts or bets, they will train you to choose actions over overthinking, because that's important. When you overthink, you're not going to do it. The third thing is redesign your environment from control to ownership. What I mean by that is the corporate environment are built around control. Calendars, approvals, processes. Your entrepreneurship world is built around you, yourself, your standards, your time, your KPI. So make a priority to that. Make that shift. Don't stay in that corporate mindset. What I mean by that is ask yourself, where do I still live like an employee in my own life? Is it letting notifications controlling your time? Are you waiting for others to motivate you? Are you blaming the market, blaming the economy, blaming the food, blaming your manager, blaming anyone for everything? What I like to do, especially in step number 3, is I like to allocate at least 1 hour. And here is an advice that I did in the past. Try to allocate 1 hour per day to answer those roadblockers. Very important. Or maybe hire a coach to support your journey. Some people need someone to talk to. Or just have a friend to hold each other accountable about what you're going to do about these small things and how you can change your mindsets. And as we reflect on today's episode, I'd like you to take a moment and be very honest with yourself. Where in your life are you still following? It could be a boss, a system, maybe a fear or a story, instead of choosing. What's one decision that you've been postponing because you want everyone to approve it first? And what's one small entrepreneurial move that you can make this week? It could be a call, it could be a reminder, it could be an offer, anything that will make you have the capability to choose, And keep in mind, this is really not an invitation for you to hate your current job. It's just an invitation for you to design and prioritize your dream so that you can do the things that you love in life. So here is what I want to leave you with today. You really don't have to wait for permission to start living as an entrepreneur in your life. You don't need the permission. Start with one chosen direction, one small, tiny bit, and one mindset shift that reflects the person that you want to become, not just the role that you want to play or you were trained to play in that corporate life. All right? Please share this episode with someone who is scared to have this choosing move. It might be the perspective that they need to stop following and start choosing. And always remember to rate my show on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and YouTube, and subscribe to my channels. Thank you so much for spending the time with me on Yuwab. And until next time, keep questioning and keep choosing. مع السلامة.